What's poppin' YouTube? My name is Quinn and I am the coach of the Coal Valley Cobalians, and we are here for week number 4 of the MBC versus season 10 of the GBA runner-up Goldoa Dragon and the New York Empoleon. Just off matchup and Goldoa's ability alone, this is going to be a painfully hard match for us this week. We are sitting 3-0 plus 10 currently, but I cannot imagine that's going to 4-0 without at least a fight ahead of us. Unfortunately, I've had some technical difficulties this week. I could not record the audio. Audio is not working on my capture card, and my mic happened to die in the middle of recording, so I'm gonna have to post-com this, put some Glitch City in the background, so hopefully you guys think it's still okay. That would be great, but hopefully we can get this fixed for future weeks. And it's just a 1-week issue. If it is not, then I guess we will just adapt and get better at it from here. This is completely new to me, not something I have done before, at least not to the extent that I'm having to do it right now. Anyways, let's see. Goldoa's team consists of Urshifu-Single-Strike, Manaphy, Scizor, Clefable, Mesprit, Landorus Incarnate, Hisuian Typhlosion with the Terra types of Fire, Water, and Fairy, which is the one to note, that's the one I'm most worried about. A Terra Gogoat as well with Grass, Water, and Steel, which as of recording this week, the basics of last week, which I am very excited to see how that happened because I think it's very funny. We have Tatsugiri, Regieleki, Sudowoodo Terra with Rock, Grass, and Fairy. They can become truly Wudo. And his last mon is Grafai. The fairies are huge issues for us. My fairy resist is a Delphox pre-Terra and a Bronzong, so that'll be great always. Bronzong has a bad matchup here, so it is not coming, so we will just have to improvise. So we have a Assault Vest Hisuian Samurott to help deal with the Hisuian Typhlosion. If it's like a Scarf Terra Fairy or Boots Timid, then it does not do over half. We can take 2 hits. If it is Specs or like some sort of a boosting item like Life Orb or the Fairy Feather or something like that, even Modest is a roll to do a KO, so it could very well completely destroy us. Same with the Clefable. The Clefable is also a huge issue here. The Torn is kind of built to take it on to an extent. If it's like an offensive Life Orb Moonblast, like Calm Mindset, which is what I'm kind of worried about, the Torn does help with it a little bit, though I don't think it doesn't take hits super well. It can taunt it, it can Sludge Bomb it to get some chip off, help get rid of the ability to Moonlight, get rid of the ability to Calm Mind. It'll at least put it in a stagnant spot to where if I have to sack Torn, I sack Torn, I get Sneasler in and revenge it, or force it out for another time, which would at least be better in the immediate, maybe not in the long run. It doesn't help, but it'll at least put it in a stagnant spot to where it's forced out. The Sneasler is poisoned to Barb this week because we need extra rolls on Clefable. If it is a physically defensive Clefable with the offensive like Life Orb, Moonblast shenanigans, then I believe Dire Claw does 2-hit KO with Poison Barb. Without it, I think it is a roll, so I wanted that to get the extra damage. Poison Barb also helps to get extra damage on Landorus, as we obviously don't hit it very well. It doesn't get like a ice move or anything to hit it, so we are just working with what we got. The Poison Barb also helps with rolls on Mesprit and on Manaphy. I believe a non-invested, maybe max HP, no physical investment Dire Claw is a roll to 2-hit KO, and then Gunk Shot does like 75 to 85 or something like that, and then does more to Mesprit as well. So just getting the chip on those is really nice to prevent them in the end game, specifically Manaphy, from just winning outright. We can kind of put it in a spot where it's more revengeable by like a Delphox, as we see the Scarf Delphox. It is not Terra Fairy, despite there being in Urshifu. It's Terra Grass, because I'm a little bit more worried about the Manaphy running, just because of the the Urshifu's revenge by Scarf. So if it is a Scarf itself, or if it's banded, or any sort of situation where it doesn't have a +2 in speed, we always outspeed it, and we can revenge it with Dazzling Gleam. The only exception would be like if it's Roselli Berry, we don't revenge it, but we still go into a much better spot than we were beforehand. Flamethrower, and then Flamethrower is just stab, Terra Blast to hit the Manaphy specifically. Though it does also catch the Sudowoodo, I suppose. And then Trick is to potentially trick a Choice Scarf to Clefable, or like a Mesprit, or Scizor, even, like, just to potentially neuter something in the long run would be very nice. We have the Sandy Shocks. My goal with the Sandy Shocks is not necessarily to accomplish anything with it aside of setting rocks and getting information. If I see the Regieleki, I'm going to save it, or try and conserve it for as long as possible. But I'm more worried about getting information here because of how volatile his offense is. It's a huge issue for me in this matchup. So I would like just as much information as possible. Whether it means I know Scarf on Typhlosion, I know Scarf on Urshifu, I know Band on Urshifu. I can get some information on Landorus. I'm not max speed, so that if it does outspeed me, I know it's either a faster variant or it's like a Scarf one for some, not even for some reason. I don't think it's that bad, but I don't think it's coming as Scarf. It's basically just to get information, really. And then if the Regieleki shows up, we will pull it out, conserve it a little bit longer. And then Brambleghast is making his debut this week. It is primarily the switch into Landorus because Landorus is not, we don't do with Landorus very well. There is a Landorus set that definitely 2-hit kills Brambleghast, but we are very especially defensive to where if it is, I believe, Modest Life Orb, Sludge Wave does over half. I think without Modest, it's like a roll. So it could still very well 2-hit KO, but it's a much better situation than we have with literally everything else on the team. Outside of the Bronzong, which if it is Gravity Landorus, or if it's just like the rest of the team just deals with Bronzong super well, so it's just not a great bring here. I don't really feel like, I feel like Brambleghast is better. Also keeps hazards off our side, which granted their hazards are not amazing. It's basically just rocks on Mesprit Landorus because not regular. Sudowoodo has like rocks and spikes, but I don't imagine that thing coming. Power and Poltergeist are really spammable here, and then String Sap is to keep us healthy. Clover Berry allows us to live I believe it's an Adamant non-boosted Urshifu Wicked Blow from full, so that could potentially come into play, though Power Whip does not kill it. It does like 50 to 60. So it's nice chip for sure. It would put it in range of a bunch of other things on the team, which is pretty much what I want. Like, if I trade Brambleghast for a lot of damage and like knowledge on stuff, like I am all right with that exchange. Anyways, let's go ahead and skip forward to the battle. All right, we are here in the battle. We see Goldoa brings the Manaphy, the Mesprit, the Urshifu, the Scizor, the Landorus, and the Regieleki. Now, the 6 I expected were Urshifu, Manaphy, Scizor, Clefable, Landorus, and Hisuian Typhlosion. I knew that Mesprit and Eleki always had a reason to show up, and it's very possible they showed up, but I did not exactly think that they would come. I'm not terribly surprised off lead though. This just means that I will need to preserve my Sandy Shocks better than I had initially wanted to. I was perfectly fine with just letting it go down like turn 2 or 3 if I got rocks up and good information. This means I'll need to preserve it more, not only to keep the rocks hopefully up the entire game for chip on Landorus and Mesprit and Manaphy, even Scizor, if it's a bulkier Scizor, would be very nice. So it just means I'll have to preserve it longer than I had initially planned, which could come back to bite me. But I think we will be just fine doing the same thing. Just leave Sandy Shock. Click Rocks, turn 1. There's nothing that really stops me from doing that, except for, I guess, a Landorus lead or a Manaphy lead would be annoying. But like Mesprit's does fine. Well, even then, like, I just click my Ra. No, I could not click my Ra, because then I would be down to my Sash, and Regieleki would just go thin, which is annoying. Yeah, so Manaphy and Landersley would be the worst for us, but they're still manageable. I have Mons that can switch into them, especially with not having the Typhlosion here. That means that the Samurott can pretty much entirely focus on the switching into the Manaphy, which is very nice overall. So we do see the Regieleki, which is just best case scenario. We just click rocks. There's no reason to click anything other than rocks. I imagine he probably will switch to a Landorus, but there is realistically no reason to click anything other than rocks here. Because even Tri-Attack's doing, like, I think it's in like the 30% range. Like, it's not doing a lot. It's more like to get damage off on it and keep pressure on it than it is to actually like threaten it with like a kill or anything. So we do see the Lander switch in here, which is pretty obvious, which makes complete sense. I don't know what I was doing here. I don't know why I even pulled this up. I think I was. Oh, I think this is when my mic died, so I was kind of zoned out. But we always just go Bramblegast here. That's what this is for. There's really no reason not to. We go to Bramblegast. We live for sure one hit of any hit, and then the second hit we will have to see based off of the damage, what it does. So I love shiny Bramblegast. Like, it's so simple, and we see the Swords Dance come out, and this was not something I at all expected. I figured it would be Life Force special. I did not anticipate a Swords Dance Landorus at all. This puts us in a very tough spot, because if the Bramblegast, if the Landorus is Life Orb, I don't even think it has to be Adamant. I think if it's just like Jolly, a Crunch at +2 does kill us, even through Colbur. So this is a very tough spot, but realistically, I don't have anything I can risk switching into this. I kind of just have to go for the play that he is not Life Orb. Like, if he's Yachi, or why would he be Yachi? I don't have a nice type. I don't know. I'm spouting. I just have to go for the play that it's not Life Orb, or that I like live if it's like a bulkier, like Swords Dance Landorus to set up on something like the Bramblegast. We do see the Crunch. We do see the Colbur pop, and we live on 14. I don't recall exactly what the roll was, but I know it was like, I think it was a straight, I think Goldoa said it was straight 50-50. He did like the calc. We did calc afterwards. We talked a little bit about the teams in the game. I think it was a straight up 50-50 roll, so it definitely was slightly in my favor, but nothing that was like, no, that was definitely could have definitely been game changing. But we got the roll. That's what matters. So we just click Poltergeist in case he wants to switch for some reason. Bramblegast unfortunately goes down. It's not quite the debut I was hoping for, but he did get a lot of chip on this Landorus, which is very nice. So realistically at this point, every Mon outspeeds except for Samurott, and then potentially the Sandy Shocks, depending on his speed investment, because they do naturally speed tie. I think the easiest play is to just go out into Delphox and click Flamethrower. If the Manaphy switches in, that's fine. This thing is taking chip every time it comes in, and it's definitely in Sneasler range now of I believe Rocks into Dire Claw will kill it, or at very least it's really close. And I know it's not Scarfed, so I can just click 2 Dire Claws and we're good. But yeah, just going out into Delphox and Flamethrowing is the best play. It does kill, and it covers pretty much everything. It's going to take a lot from Flamethrower, with the exception of Manaphy. If he switches out to Manaphy, that's fine. I just go out into my Samurott, since I don't have Typhlosion to worry about. I can just focus solely on checking the Manaphy with that. Yeah, just Flamethrower. I did not Terra because I did not want to show that so early. I didn't need to click Terra here. I knew it wasn't going to outspeed me. Realistically, there was no reason for me to do that, because as long as I keep my Terra hidden, he always has to worry about Terra Fairy when he brings Urshifu in. Because if I switch this in, if I switch it in on Urshifu, I'm not exactly showing I'm Scarf, I'm showing I'm Terra Fairy. I feel like that's what his mind would go to first rather than me being a Scarf. So I'd like to keep that mind game as long as possible, as well as it could make the Manaphy feel safe switching in if he thinks it's Terra Fairy rather than Terra Grass, and then I proc Terra Grass and we profit. We can do a lot of damage to Manaphy. Anyways, let's see what he goes out into here. Man, talking back is not easy because I just got pockets like this. Like I've been talking pretty well. I'm pretty happy with how I've been handling this entire situation, but it's annoying more than it is like troublesome. So he does go into the Manaphy, which is pretty obvious, man. Pretty obvious switch, I feel. Realistically, nothing else really wants to switch into this thing. I guess Aleki could have switched in, but Manaphy, Manaphy definitely doesn't die to even a Grass Terra Blast, so it is just a better situation for him here to bring in the Manaphy because he can click a Tail Glow or Take Heart or Acid Armor or whatever he wants, or he can just click an attack too. Click a Water move, predict the switch Samurott and click like Dazzling Liam. So we do go Samurott here as this is primarily the only necessary for the Manaphy, and getting our spikes up is always nice. So we do see the Scald here that does absolutely nothing. I'm pretty sure that this is like a more bulky Manaphy, because Scald, I know I'm a super bulky Samurott, but Scald doing 33 damage, like that's like 5% maybe. That's insane. So we just click Ceaseless here, clicks Tail Glow. Also, I do like the nickname theme. I don't know if he's just trying to trick people up. I'm assuming that's the situation. Just having fun with it and tricking people up with the name. Like, oh, you see Pichu. I think the Scizor was also named Pichu. So you see, oh, is it Pichu or is it Manaphy? It's just like a little bit more element of surprise. Kind of fun. Yeah, we click Ceaseless, get our spikes up. He did click Tail Glow, so now a Dazzling Gleam is going to be doing a lot more than it would before if that is what he clicks. Regardless, this thing with a flip turn, I believe it is in range of a Dire Claw. I remember doing the calc. I believe that is correct. So that did do a lot more damage. It did 200 to us, but this thing is in range. So I click flip turn. We go out into the Sneasler to pressure it. I go Sneasler, right? I'm pretty sure I go Sneasler. I should go Sneasler. If I do not, I should have definitely went Sneasler. I'm pretty sure I went Sneasler. Like Sneasler and then Dire Claw is just free. Yeah, no, I definitely went Sneasler. I remember this sequence now. But yeah, Sneasler Dire Claw with the way it's at should be killing. I think if it's max HP, it's maybe a slight roll to live. But which granted, it probably is like max HP, so. But it forces out, or it forces the chance of Poison, Terra, or Sleep, which is always nice. I don't think I've ever gotten a Dire Claw not Poison, if it did anything at all, which is kind of funny. But we do see the switch here on the Dire Claw, and he goes out into Pikachu, which is the Mesprit. Is that was that a Love Ball? Oh, that's cool. All right, so we see that do around 38. I think it looks a hair below half. It doesn't look much below half. So we know that it doesn't kill. A Gunk Shot would kill from here. However, I have no interest in risking a Gunk Shot miss and then losing my Sneasler, because Sneasler is still very valuable in this game. So I just opt to go out into Samurott, as it has pretty much done its job of getting the Manaphy down to half, where every time it's coming in, it is taking the rocks and now taking the spike, unless the Electric can rapid spin those away, which my spin blocker is now gone, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is. So it does kill the Samurott. I remember looking at this calc and being very confused. I think this might be a more physically offensive Mesprit. Like, I don't think that unless I'm just like off on my percentages, which I very well could be, because obviously the Wi-Fi is different from the draft scene that I'm used to, which is Showdown, which like shows you the actual percents. This is more of an estimate than anything. So we do get to see what he goes into here. Okay, we see Pikachu come out, which is the Urshifu. So that'll take in clean 18% with the rocks and the spikes. Now, I think, yeah, my play is definitely just to go out into the Delphox, because it does threaten it with a KO on every time. And that's what I was referring to earlier, is he doesn't know that this is Scarf. I bring it in, and he thinks it's Terra Fairy rather than Terra like Scarf. More often than not, like probably Terra Fairy with a Heavy Berry or something. Because I don't think I could definitely run this thing bulky enough to where it wouldn't kill if it's not banded. And if it is banded, then I outspeed it. Obviously, I kill it Dazzling Gleam. But I know he's not going to stay in, so I just go ahead and Flamethrower on the switch prediction. If he does bring in the Manaphy, I'm pretty sure Manaphy is 2 to KO after Rocks and Spike, because it'd be down to like around like 25-ish% mark. So two flamethrowers should definitely be enough. And at this point, that is his only fire resist. So it puts a lot of pressure on him. He opts to bring in the Aleki though, which is going to take a lot. However, oh, okay. Well, let's do the Terra animation first. I forgot that I clicked Terra here. I don't. Yeah, I shouldn't have Terra'd here, actually. This was probably a mistake. I should have waited. Because if I had waited, there's a situation later in the game where that definitely matters. So I shouldn't have Terra'd there. I definitely shouldn't have Terra'd there, but it's fine. Yeah, so Regieleki goes out to about 5-ish% on Flamethrower. I don't know. I'm imagining it probably wasn't a roll, but it could have been. If it was, I'm not too pressed about it. In hindsight, I should have just clicked Flamethrower. However, I didn't want to risk the Aleki being like an offensive set with like a fast explosion set. However, I did in the original audio, I did call this being just a like rapid spin screens Aleki, which is exactly what it turns out to be. So that was a major. I played way too safe on that play. I should have just clicked Flamethrower, but it is what it is. Here I just click Volt Switch to get the initiative, kill this thing, and I get out into whatever mon I want depending on the situation. I believe I just go out into the Sneasler, or do I just click Rock? No, I Volt Switch and then I go out. I go into the Torn, I believe. I Volt Switch and go out to Torn. But I guess we will see. This is not part I remember perfectly, evidently. I Volt Switch, and this I was kind of worried about after the Let's Hear that wouldn't kill the Aleki, but it does kill the Aleki. So now we have a light screen to worry about. And that is a bit annoying because I do have 3 special attackers left, and then a Sneasler, so I believe my choice is the Tornadus, but I'm not exactly remembering. Sure. We go Delphox. Okay. I mean that makes sense. Like, does it make sense? Well, we'll see. What do we have left? He has Mesprit at like about half health. He has the Manaphy at about half health. He has the Urshifu, which is like 82%, and then he has the Scizor at full. Yeah, I mean Delphox does hit anything that comes in here, so I don't necessarily think it's a bad play. I understand. I understand why I did it. So here I did the calcs, and this thing does not die to a Dazzling Gleam with the light screen up, unfortunately. It does get very close, but it does not kill it. However, at this point, I didn't really want to sack anything else. I probably should have just sacked the Sandy Shock, since it really wasn't accomplishing that much in the first place, but I just decided to Dazzling Gleam and get the damage off on this thing, which I don't necessarily think was a bad play at the time, because if it is Jolly Urshifu, I was thinking it might be like Jolly Scarf, then it is a roll in my favor to live CC here. If it is not, if it's adamant and it's not a roll in my favor, but that is still a roll nonetheless. But this is what I was referring to when I said I should have just kept the Terra, because if I kept the Terra hidden, then this situation is a 50-50. He has to worry about if he clicks close combat or he clicks Wicked Blow, which even then, like, if I'm Terra Fairy, he's probably clicking. What, did he have Poison Jab? I don't know if he had Poison Jab. If he had Poison Jab, he has to click it, which I don't think it might kill from here. Regardless, it was just much better for me if I had withheld the Terra, but it's what it is. What it is. Game's over. Like, I know what to improve now for future. I Terra'd early. I didn't need to Terra early, so we know what to do. What to do in the future. Anyways, Torn is the obvious switch in here. I know that I know from the damage, this is most likely not Scarf. Even if it is Scarf, Torn T is my best switch into it. I just click U-turn, force damage. We see Scizor, which is fine. I do have Fire Punch on the Sneasler, however, I opt to go out into the Sandy Shocks because that is the most expendable at this point, and getting rocks up again will be nice, especially when I was thinking that the Urshifu was the Urshifu is two layers of rock away from dying, so it kind of forces it on a timer. However, at this point in the game, it probably isn't switching in twice, but it is what it is. Either way, if this thing is banded, I did not want to take a bullet punch. I wanted to scout on damage, so I figured worst case this thing clicks U-turn. I get to see if it is banded or not, and then we can go from there. If even banded, this thing doesn't kill, so I do guarantee get my rocks up. We see what he goes for. Yep, we click the rocks, get our rocks back up, get some chip on like Mesprit and Manaphy so that they're a little bit less annoying. You also click knockoff, which is fine with me because my sash wasn't usable anyways. And then there's really no reason to not just click Earth Power here. If he switches out into Mesprit, I just click Volt Switch next turn. So we do see that does nothing. I think it was probably an AV set. However, the light screen was still up, which I did not recall at the time. I remember it afterwards because I think it goes away like next turn, or this turn or next turn, or it goes away soon. So I just went over my head again. Screens are a bit annoying, but yeah, so it goes away this turn. So realistically, it doesn't matter. I do think it was still probably like an Assault Vest set based off the damage. I feel like it would have done more, but whatever. Anyways, we do click Volt Switch here on the Mesprit and get just short of killing it, which is obviously annoying. In this situation, it's very annoying because it essentially lost. It's one of the things that ends up coming back because it means it gets a free Healing Wish off, and now the Urshifu that was 2 rocks away from dying is back to full. That is what he goes into. It is the Urshifu. Go ahead and spoil that. But yeah, also if the Sandy Shocks had died to the U-turn, that actually would have been better for me because then the Mesprit cannot click. The Mesprit doesn't get a chance to click the Healing Wish because both of my other Mons will both of my Mons kill it at that point. Both Sneasler and Torn have ways to kill Mesprit at that point, I believe. So even if I had Torn, I could just taunt it, but I don't know if I would have thought to. It's all speculation at this point. Obviously, the game has already been played, but Anyways, Goldoa obviously makes a switch out. He could not want to take a Bleak Wind, so I click U-turn, predicting that. We do see the Manaphy come in here. So he's just sacking the Manaphy at this point, which is fine with me. My play here is Sneasler, because I do not know if the Manaphy outspeeds the Sandy Shocks, and I really have no reason to go Sandy Shock. Like, I just go Sneasler. I know it's not Scarf. I just kill it with Dire Claw. I could have U-turned at this point, but the way that the game was shaping up, I wanted to keep the Sneasler in because I could tell based off the damage that Bleak Wind was never going to do enough to kill Scizor. Even with a crit, I highly doubt it killed. And I did not have Heat Wave. I had Sludge Bomb for the Fable that did not show up. So yeah, we just click Dire Claw here. We claim. If he goes out into Scizor, that's fine, because I just click Fire Punch next turn. But I just click Dire Claw. He opts to stay in and sack it, which is probably the better play. I don't see the reason to keep this thing around at this point. All three mons can potentially outspeed it if they don't already. So there's really no reason to keep it around. And then we see the Scizor come in to threaten me with Bullet Punch. I kind of thought about sacking the Sandy Shocks here, but I really don't think it makes a difference in the end game. So I just opt to click Fire Punch. The unfortunate thing is that the Scizor Bullet Punch does put me in range of a Scarf close combat, I think, or it's a roll at least. It puts me just a hair below half. I believe close combat does like 54 max if it is Scarf Adamant, so it is annoying, but it is what it is, regardless of what happens. I feel like I'm in a pretty good position here. The way he's been playing it, I think it is a choice variant at this point. So I just click, I know that Dire Claw, I would be forced to rely basically on a Paralysis or a Sleep, which is less than 10% apiece. So I just click Gunk Shot, going for most damage possible. If I hit the Gunk Shot, then it is in range of a Torn. It is in range of a U-turn from Torn. However, I missed the Gunk Shot. Even if it was Sandy Shocks would have killed, whereas now it doesn't. So that is very unfortunate, to say the least. But it is Mons. It is what it is. Wicked Blow does now kill for sure. Before the Trailblaze, Wicked Blow was not a kill. It was like just out of range. So the Torn comes in, and even if I did have CC, the only thing I needed CC for was the Urshifu. Even if I did have CC, Goldoa has told me he was Choppleberry, so it would not have made a difference. Gunk actually did a little bit more, and got the poison off. Could potentially get the poison, which would have just ended the game. So at this point, I have no choice but to go Torn and click Bleak Wind. I know that this thing cannot kill me with any attack. Even Stone Edge, I don't think kills. It'd have to be a crit. So he opts to go for his Headbutt, which is the play for the flinch, and he gets the flinch. So I would have had to hit a flinch, or I would have had to avoid the flinch and hit a Bleak Wind. However, it is what it is. Like, if I'd hit the Gunk Shot, I would have been able to just click U-turn, not have to worry about it. If I had clicked the and then I could just click, I could just click U-turn, not have to worry about missing. But I got flinched anyway, so if he gets that flinch, I lose every time anyways, unless I like get the poison on the Gunk Shot. So it's unfortunate. It's our first loss of the season. We're now 3-1 plus 9, but it is only a 1-0 loss, and it was against Goldoa, so I am by no means pressed about it. It's disappointing more than maddening. Like, it's part of the game. There's nothing we can really do about it. I definitely had like a little bit of luck earlier in the game. Like the Brambleghast living the 50% roll was definitely huge for me. Without that damage, I am not revenging it very well at all. If I revenge it at all, like I don't think it was in range of an Aqua Jet from Samurott, which is the issue. Even with, well, no, sorry. I would have basically had to sack another Mon in order to get it in range, potentially get it in range of the Samurott. But yeah, it sucks, but it is a game. Go ahead and pause this because we're running out of time anyways. So week 5 we are playing another showdown player who I have played I think just once in the past in a Smogon tournament. We're playing A12 USB, so that'll be fun. His team is very scary off looking at that. He is also an undefeated, well, Godowa was not undefeated. A12 is an undefeated coach, so he's currently at 3-1, has not played his week 4 game, so we will see. As of recording this, he has not played his week 4 game, so we will see how that goes, and we will come back. But again, sorry for having to be post-con. Like, this is annoying for me. I didn't really want to do this. I don't like watching post-con content a ton. I'll do it depending on like who does it, how it's done, but I would much rather have thoughts in game. I feel like afterwards can be kind of cluttered, even more so than in-game comments as much as they are cluttered as well. Post-com is just like, do I remember this right? Am I forgetting shit? Which I definitely did. I definitely have thought of missed stuff that in game I would have absolutely caught in terms of my thoughts. Like, I'm trying to recall things that were in my brain, so they're not all going to be there. They're all probably buried deep in some crevices or something. But anyways, that'll be all for today. Thank you for watching, and see you all next week. This is Quinn signing off.